While the coaching search has seemed to dominate the headlines early for the Jets this offseason, let's not forget about their cap situation. We'll break down everything you need to know about the Jets' 2025 cap situation, joined by a Jets cap expert. A lot to get into, and we'll cover that and much more, all coming up here on a Saturday morning edition of NY Flight Jets Talk.
Jets, Jets, let's go.
Jets wide receiver Wesley Walker. Wesley, how you doing today? ESPN writer Mr. Rich Cimini, Jets reporter for The Athletic Mr. Zach Rosenblatt, Hall of Famer and Jets legend Mr. Marty Lyons.
Your host, Connor Law.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into another edition of NY Flight Jets Talk, Saturday, January 25th, 2025. Aaron Glenn's in the building. Darren Muji is expected to be in the building. Troy Brown also up there for a finalist for the job alongside Lance Newmark. So GM's still not in place. We do have a head coach, but today we're going to shift our focus over to the cap situation. We will be joined by Jets cap expert Michael Pallas as we break down all you need to know about, what to look for in free agency. Guys, they should resign. Should Aaron Rodgers come back? So a lot to get into. I appreciate you all tuning in. Smash the like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel, completely free to support the show. And don't forget about our membership raffle. Throw the ticker down below. Every membership you gift gets you a ticket into our raffle. Garrett Wilson signed many other Wanker Bet signed football, free item from the merch store, and a channel emoji among the prizes we are giving away this month. Let's bring on our guest for today's show. Covers the team on Twitter at JetsCap. It's our guy Michael Pallas joining us for the first time here on the show. Michael, how you doing?
Doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm super happy you are able to be here. I guess the first place I'm going to start, Michael, is the talk of the town. It's Aaron Rodgers. Should he come back? Should he not? That's what's been really dominating the headlines from the last few weeks of the season all the way till now. Obviously, it's a really intriguing spot from a cap play. So if they were to let him go right now, they'd owe him $49 million. If they keep him next season, they'd owe him $63 million. Michael, from a cap perspective, also from, a team that you're trying to put the best product out on the field, you're trying to still make a push at the playoffs, no matter what it looks like optically. What do you think is the Jets' best option with Aaron Rodgers this offseason?
Let him go. When it comes to Aaron Rodgers, the problem with, even if he takes a salary cap, a salary cut, it's a prorated option bonus right now. And let's say that $35 million gets cut in half. It's still $3.5 million a year, and it's still going to be $49 million next year as the dead cap charge for the prorated bonuses accelerating. Now, the Jets, if they decide to go that route and he somehow, for some reason, decides to take a 50% pay cut, and they can take the $7 million and $3.5 million, and that would be the charge for 2026, and then the rest of it would be 2027. So that would be $17.5 million out of 49, and the rest would be for 2027. It's if they do a post June 1st designation. The problem with the post June 1st designation is the $49 million still counts against the cap until June 2nd. So the Jets don't get the money, the cap relief, until June 2nd anyway. The same thing happens for this year, except it would be $14 and $35 million. But I'd rather the Jets just eat all the salary cap space this year for everyone that they cut and start fresh in 2026 with as little dead cap charges as possible. Because next year they're going to have a young quarterback starting, probably. And you don't want to go into 2026 with the plan of having a huge dead cap number for 2026 that you have to work around. The Denver Broncos is something that people will look at and say, well, they could have the Jets can do it because the Broncos did it. But the Broncos didn't go into the trade or the acquisition of Russell Wilson with the intention of cutting him this year. They thought he was going to be a long-term solution, and he ended up not being a long-term solution, and they had no choice but to let him go and take on that dead cap hit. That's completely different than intentionally taking on a dead cap hit for 2026 when you know a young guy is coming in and hampering the growth of the team by limiting the cap space.
Now, Michael, I guess you say you don't want Rodgers back. I'm kind of in that boat with his current salary. You broke down the prorated option bonuses. There's a roster bonus if he plays. So you're still going to owe him that money. Like, even if you restructure his deal, let's say I think he's due to make 37 or something crazy like that next season. I think Geno Smith is the lowest paid starting quarterback in the league right now with an AAV of $22 million. Let's say Aaron Rodgers says, hey, I'll become the lowest paid quarterback in all of football for next season. I'll lower my AAV. I'll be right neck and neck with Geno Smith. I want to be a part of this team, and I want this team to make the playoffs. Because let's be real, Michael. Aaron Rodgers didn't play his best football last season, but there were a lot of other variables as to why the Jets were 5-12. Coaching, missed kicks, the defense blew several opportunities. Now, I'm not a big Aaron Rodgers fan, but if you could tell me he takes a $15 million pay cut, I'm open to bringing him back next season. I really am, just because I think he gives us the best chance to win. My question for you, someone who does not want Aaron Rodgers back under any circumstance, what is your plan at the quarterback position that is going to put this team in the best spot to win?
I'm not worried about winning in 2025.
You don't
I'm
want
worried about I don't necessarily think they can't win with anybody else. I just think the goal for the Jets from specifically from the front office perspective, get the dead cap off the books and don't have limit the dead cap in 2026. I'm not saying they can't win doing it that way. It's not likely, but Tyrod Taylor should be the starting quarterback, or at least one of the guys competing for the starting quarterback position in 2025. Because Tyrod Taylor is going to be on the team, because cutting him is meaningless. They don't get enough cap relief because he has a huge guarantee relative to his contract left on his contract. So he's going to be on the team regardless. And Aaron Rodgers is going to make $37.5 million in cash next year. It's the base salary is $2.5 million. You said you wanted him to take a $15 million pay cut.
Yes, lowers AAV to like 22 mil, 15 to 17 million dollars, make him neck and neck with Geno Smith, one of the lowest paid quarterbacks in all of football. Because Michael, let's be real, Aaron Rodgers is not the reason that team was 5-12. You bring Aaron Glenn, who's going to come in and discipline these guys. I know you were big on Aaron Glenn. You were very vocal about him on Twitter. You bring me Aaron Glenn, you run it back with Rodgers. There is no reason this team cannot be 10-7, 11-6, and in the playoffs next year. There's no reason that can't happen. From what we saw, yeah, you had a few pieces on the defense. You re-signed Morgan Moses as a backup. You bring in another starter on the offensive line. Like, there's no reason this team cannot be 10-7 or 11-6 and competing for a playoff spot next season. From what we saw, coaching is the main reason they were 5-12, and the Jets just addressed that.
I agree that with Aaron Rodgers, they probably have a better shot at the playoffs.
So then why wouldn't you want to do that, though? Because I see a comment in the chat that I wanted to pull up. If you don't, where is it? Let's see. JD, who's a channel member, comes in and says, we have another season like this. You won't need the cap because all of our young talent will want out. I don't know how many more losing seasons, Michael, this young core could take in Garrett Wilson, who I think needs to get paid soon. A Jermaine Johnson, who's going to need to prove he's able to get a second contract. Sauce Gardner. I think I want to put this team in the best position to win. We have not made the playoffs in 14 seasons, and this is an opportunity to do so. And what I saw last year, coaching is the reason they were 5-12 and not 12-5. With a legit coach, a few made field goal attempts, This team's in the playoffs.
Yeah, probably. And they're probably in the playoffs next year if Aaron Rodgers can play up to whatever 42
So then why
year
wouldn't
old.
you want him back next season?
Because I am more worried about 2026 and beyond than just one season of making the playoffs.
But there's no
I'm
guarantee, for example, you're going to draft a quarterback and he's going to hit right away. Like, there's no guarantee that's going to happen. This team clearly can't develop a quarterback from what we've seen the past
we
few.
don't know if this team can't develop a quarterback or not because it's not the same coaching staff. You can't judge the ability to you can't judge the ability to develop a quarterback based on what the Jets haven't been able to do with other coaching staffs. Because I can point to two coaching staffs ago when they had Chad Pennington, or that's like four coaching staffs ago, and say the Jets can. He just got hurt. But I'm more worried about the negative ramifications of 2026 and beyond because you could make the playoffs in 2025, have negative cap ramifications for 2026 and 2027, miss the playoffs the next 4 years, and then you're at 19 out of 20, or next 5 years, and be at 19 out of 20 missed playoffs, and it was a 1 year and done thing. Is that what you? Because that's when the Jets made the deal for Aaron Rodgers, I hated it, even though he took the $35 million.
Who was a better option, though? Who did you want? Derek Carr?
Yeah.
That would have panned out even worse. Look what Derek Carr has done in New Orleans.
It wouldn't have panned out worse.
Okay, Aaron Rodgers, yes, the Achilles injury took a toll on him. But you can't go back and tell me that Derek Carr was the Jets' best option at the quarterback position at that time. There is no way.
Derek Carr would have been a better option than Aaron Rodgers at the time. Even because you would have had an Alex Smith type stable position for the quarterback position. You could have drafted another quarterback at some point and had him take over for Derek Carr the way Patrick Mahomes took over for Alex Smith. And now you have this dead cap loom. Now you have this cap problem like the Saints have looming over you and potentially negatively impacting your ability to build a franchise for a couple of years. That's the problem with that's the problem with Aaron Rodgers. It's not his talent. It's the negative impact it has on the roster building of the future. I understand that you want to make the playoffs and end this playoff drought. I do too. I want the Jets to make the playoffs, but I don't want it to negatively impact down the road. And then we're looking for a new head coach and GM because they can't build the roster properly because of the cap ramifications. You suggested a $15 million pay cut. That would probably be a $20 million option bonus because they can't move it into base salary because they don't have enough cap space to do that. So that would be $5 million. I'm sorry, it would be $4 million a year, be $16 million in a dead cap charge next year. Let's see, they would have $35 million left from the two option bonuses. So that's $51 million. And then you have to factor in Davante Adams.
I think Davante Adams would have to take a pay cut as well if he wants to come back. So, Michael, I appreciate you hopping on. A lot to look forward to as the Jets kind of go full head of steam into this offseason. A lot of, players you're going to need to potentially talk about re-signing. A lot of guys are going to need to take a pay cut, and a lot of names to watch in free agency. Appreciate you hopping on. You got any final thoughts?
When it comes to Davante Adams, I don't know what his mindset is or will be, but it's most likely not going to be a pay cut because he's still a quality player. And it would probably be a restructure, which would lead to dead money next year for Davante Adams, which is part of the reason, another part of the reason why Aaron Rodgers is a bad decision for this year, because now you're talking about around $80 million for two guys that aren't on the team. I'm okay with. I would live with Aaron Rodgers being on the team. It's just I would be very hesitant to want to hurt the team moving forward from a cap space perspective with about $80 million in dead money. Let's say it's let's say it's $290 million. That would mean the Jets could only spend $210 million on their roster in 2026. That puts them way behind the eight ball for winning in 2026. So it's not just about winning in 2025, which the Jets could do with a guy like Tyrod Taylor. I'm not saying they would, but they could sneak into the playoffs with Tyrod Taylor as their quarterback. I'm not saying it's not a guarantee that they'll just blow up and go 4-13 with Tyrod Taylor as their quarterback. Or even if they brought in another guy to compete with Tyrod Taylor and he won the job. The quarterback free agency is weak this year, and the Jets are probably not going to be picking one of the top quarterbacks in the draft. So they are in a bind because it's not just about 2025. It's about sure, make the playoffs in 2025. It's a good idea. But at what cost are you willing to because look at 2012. Shad Khan bought the Jacksonville Jaguars. They've made the playoffs 3 times. They've been one and done 3 times. They've been like spark for a season, and then they go away for a long period of time. I could see the Jets bringing back Aaron Rodgers this year and being the spark in 2025 and then being one and done.
I
And that's not
understand that. I understand that concern there for sure, but I think it's balancing your long term as well. But I think there's something to be said for putting the best team out on the field to win. This is a team, Michael, that has not made the playoffs in 14 seasons, and they have an opportunity to do so this season with a legit coaching staff. So where I am right now, if Aaron Rodgers is not going to take a pay cut, he needs to come back on this salary. Good riddance. But if he's willing to cut down his salary, $15 to $17 million, I'm bringing Aaron Rodgers back because I think he gives them the best chance to win. And I'm not a big Aaron Rodgers guy, Michael. I just think he gives them the best chance to win out of all the other quarterbacks available. So Michael, I appreciate you hopping on. Great stuff as always. Appreciate your support.
Thank you very much.
Of course. Michael checking in. Great stuff. As always, appreciate you guys sticking with us. Appreciate your support on the show. Smash the like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Don't forget about our membership raffle. Every membership you gift gives you a ticket into our raffle. Let's see. Garrett Wilson signed mini helmet. Wankerbet signed football free item from the merch store. Channel emoji among the prizes we are giving away this month. 26 of you guys tuning in here on YouTube, only 14 likes. Please hit the like button. It is completely free. It helps us continue to grow the channel. Your support means a ton on the show. Let's see. Keep the questions coming in. We'll be sure to get to every single question in the chat. If you'd like to call into the show, come up on the air and voice your opinion. Click the pinned comment to do so. Chris J gets things started today, a channel member and a moderator, by gifting 2 memberships. We're going to give him a Jets chant. Jets. There we go, Chris. I appreciate your support on the program. If you hear your name called, you are a member. And thank Chris in the chat. Daniel Diaz, Matt P., you are all members. Thanks to Chris. I appreciate your support here on the show. Where are we? Let's see what's up. Rod, good to see you in the chat. Snowball, appreciate you tuning in. Jimmy Jet's the leader in our raffle this year. I appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate your support. I mean, I guess kind of where I'm going to piggyback off that conversation there with Michael is the quarterback position. I am for Aaron Rodgers coming back, which I made abundantly clear during that interview, if he's willing to take a $15 to $17 million pay cut, because I think this team needs to get into the playoffs. I understand you want to look ahead to 2026. You're looking for the long-term future. There's plenty of people in Jetsland who want to do that, and I completely understand your concern there with bringing Aaron Rodgers back. But I think this team has to do what puts you in the best chance to win today. And I think that is bringing Aaron Rodgers back on a $15 to $17 million pay cut. I'm a big Tyrod Taylor guy. If you give me a plan where Tyrod Taylor is able to stay healthy for all 17 games, I bet you this team could go 10-7 or 11-6. The problem is Tyrod Taylor can't stay healthy. That's the massive concern with a guy like Tyrod Taylor. When he's healthy, he's a perfect bridge quarterback. He's an average quarterback in this league. The problem is I don't think you're getting more than 8 games out of Tyrod Taylor in a 17-game season. He's injury prone. He's never been able to stay on the field for all 17 games. He hasn't proven that. That's the problem. I am not for tanking. You get 17 games in a season. You get one season a year. 17 games, lay it all out on the field. Think about that. Guys, we had 17 games in the season, and then boom, we're talking about the offseason now for the next 9 months. It's like 17, boom, 9 months. It's not like you have 162 games like there are in baseball every year. 82 like there are on the NBA and the NHL. You have 17 games every season. I am not for wasting a season on tanking when you have a quarterback on your roster who is capable of bringing you to the postseason for the first time in 14 years. We'll worry about the future down the road, but still, let's say you follow that plan. You decide to tank next season. There's still no guarantee you're able to draft and develop a quarterback. Let's be real, the Jets have never had a franchise quarterback before. We really haven't had that Patrick Mahomes. We haven't had that Josh Allen. We haven't even had, maybe you could argue like a Jalen Hurts type guy. This team has never had a franchise quarterback before. What tells you that they are able to go draft a guy next year and develop him, groom him to be the next franchise option? Nothing. Because all we've seen from these quarterbacks here is failure. Point blank, period. So why not bring someone back who showed you last season with competent coaching, a defense that's able to hold up? He is able to win games. Other than that, there's no other options really for the Jets that is going to put them in the great spot to win. You could sell me on a Tyrod Taylor and a Justin Fields, but at this point, you're going to owe Aaron Rodgers $49 million. Why not tack another $10 million on at this point? Why not? Like Fields, he went 4-2. I think he's mobile. I would prefer Aaron Rodgers, though, over Justin Fields and Tyrod Taylor where I am today. I had a different stance. Let's be real. I'm not going to be a flip-flopper here. I had a different stance 2 weeks ago before they hired Aaron Glenn. I think Aaron Glenn is going to want Aaron Rodgers back next season on a reduced contract. A first-time defensive mind. I think he feels comfortable running it back with a 20-year NFL veteran. That's what I think he feels comfortable with. Harlan, really beside Joe Namath. Since a lot of people have been, following since 1980. Since 1980, this team really is not at a franchise quarterback. That's a better way to phrase it. Joe Willie Namath. He's a great quarterback, best quarterback in this team's history, brought them their only Super Bowl ring. But besides Joe Namath, what franchise quarterback has this team had? They haven't had a franchise quarterback. That's the problem. And I'm going to point back to what I said on last night's show. Look at the 4 teams that are competing to, punch their ticket to New Orleans to go to the Super Bowl. Look at the teams. Eagles, Jalen Hurts, who not a lot of people would like, but he's been their franchise guy recently. Jaden Daniels, a rookie quarterback who's looking like he's going to be their franchise quarterback. That's the NFC side of things. And then on the AFC side of things, Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, Bills, Josh Allen. Harlan says, I remember Namath O'Brien wasn't a bad QB either. He wasn't bad, but was he a franchise guy like a Josh? I understand these guys don't grow on trees, but was he a franchise guy like a Josh Allen or a Patrick Mahomes? He was a good quarterback in this league, but he was not a franchise guy. I do not think Ken O'Brien was a franchise guy. I really don't. You guys, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but I think the only franchise quarterback this team has really had is Joe Namath. Appreciate you all tuning in. Smash the like. Subscribe to the channel. Keep your questions coming in. We'll be sure to get to all of those. If you want to call into the show, click the pinned comment in the chat. We're going to wrap up here shortly. Where are we? Say hi to Rich. Rich, good to see you. Appreciate you tuning in. Jets worldwide snowball. The largest problem the Jets had last season was the coaching, which we are addressing now. Yeah, I said that before. Coaching is the difference between 5-12 and 12-5 last season. Jimmy says you start Tyrod until he gets hurt, sign Fields to fill in, then Tyrod comes in to finish the season when he's healthy. Rinse and repeat. I had that plan out, drawn out a few weeks ago. I wouldn't mind it. The problem is I think Aaron Glenn is going to want to run it back with Aaron Rodgers. I don't think he's going to want to take a flyer on that kind of bridge duo. That Fields Tyrod bridge duo there. Let's see. Keep them coming in. We'll be sure to get to all of those. Caden says, what player jersey are you wearing, Caden? I'm currently wearing my Joe Tippmann jersey, a bit of a unique one this morning. Rocking the Tip jersey, big 6'6". So yeah, Joe Tippmann, starting center for the New York Jets. That's who I'm wearing right now. Let's see. Caden says, can we get Muji already? Caden, I think it's either going to be Muji or Trey Brown, and I think the announcement is going to come some point today. So I think they are going to have a GM in the building sometime soon. I'd say today the official announcement comes. Our guy Peter Castro is a channel member, comes in and says, good morning, Connor. Peter, I appreciate you tuning in. Peter wants Justin Fields. Peter, I thought you were an Aaron Rodgers guy as of late. So you want Justin Fields in here. I think Fields is a fine bridge option, but overall I think I'd say it's safe to say on a reduced contract, Aaron Rodgers gives them the best chance to win. Jets worldwide for this plan. If someone wants to go with Tyrod, I think you sign a veteran in free agency, which isn't the most sexy option. And Andy Dalton, Marcus Mariota, even a Drew Lock per se, Josh Dobbs, one of those guys. Again, it isn't the most appealing option, but for someone who wants to go the Tyrod route, I think you keep Tyrod and then you sign another veteran, and Andy Dalton, Marcus Mariota, or someone else. Laney in the house, 100% agree, Connor. Laney, appreciate your support. Laney's a member of our Discord. Check out our Discord in the description down below, in the merch store, and NY Flight Jets Talk Hat, and much more. Appreciate you guys. Taylor tuning in. Taylor says Tyrod had half of a quarter of good play in garbage time. He'll really have Rodgers derangement syndrome if he thinks he gives us a better shot at than 8. It's not just that he showed in the quarter of garbage time. He played competent football with the Giants last season. He showed when he's healthy, he's a perfect bridge option for a team. He basically led the Giants in 2023, which was one of the worst overall football teams, to a 500 record. I think he was like 4-4, 3-3, something along those lines. I don't have the exact number here, but it's tough for those who want Tyrod back, just because I think Rodgers gives them the best chance to win overall. And the goal here, let's be real, although they're not in the best position right now, the goal here is to win a Super Bowl. Whether it's this year, whether it's 10 years, the goal is to win a Super Bowl, and I think you need to put the best team on the field week in and week out. That's what you have to do. Jets Worldwide says so much flip-flopping lately on all topics. Jets Worldwide, people's opinions change once they get more information. Once Aaron Glenn became the head coach and his staff is starting to get assembled, then a lot of people are thinking, hey, I might want Rodgers back. If Brian Flores came in, what would his plan? I could have seen him taking a flyer on Justin Fields. So yes, people's opinions have been changing because new information has been getting released. And people were allowed to change their opinions once they learn new information on each topic. I would have felt more comfortable with a Justin Fields and Brian Flores than I would have Justin Fields and Aaron Glenn, for one reason and one reason only. Brian Flores has experience as a head coach. Aaron Glenn doesn't. I do not feel comfortable with a first-time defensive-minded head coach. Running it back with a bridge option. I don't feel comfortable at this point. I want the 41-year-old back. See. Okay, yeah, just worldwide. Just worldwide. You agree with me? I appreciate you, Snowball. Where are we? Oh no, this is not the wrong. This is the wrong comment I want to pull up. Harlan says Ravens won a Super Bowl with Trent Dilfer at quarterback. So that wasn't as of late. Like, come on, let's look at, like, I put the example out earlier. All the pocket passers who aren't mobile, who are not even bridge, but not franchise guys, are bounced. I mean, just to name a few, Jared Goff bounced. Baker Mayfield bounced. Who's another one? Sam Darnold, former Jet, bounced. Like, the 4 guys in the playoffs are legit NFL quarterbacks. Peter says Muji got hired. Peter Castro, no, he did not. It's not official yet. Darren Muji has not been hired by the Jets. 25 is a channel member. Comes in here, was anti-Rodgers myself, but with Glenn in as head coach, it makes most sense to keep him, parentheses, as long as he takes a pay cut and adapts to the OC's modern scheme. I agree. I think if Nick Caley, I think, is going to come in and get the OC job, a disciple really of, he's kind of that disciple of Sean McVay in the sense. Robert Mays of The Athletic said, when you leave a conversation with him, it's like leaving a conversation with Sean McVay. McVay has said incredible things about Nick Caley. Nick Caley's still in his, I think he's 30, in his 30s still, or early 40s, something like that. He's definitely on the younger side. So that's one of them, for sure. Aaron Rodgers is going to have to adapt to a modern scheme. He can't run that old West Coast offense, bullcrap, whatever it is, the Aaron Rodgers style offense. He's going to need to adapt with that. And I agree. What I said about the pay cut, $15, $17 million. If he wants to really come back, he needs to be one of the lowest paid quarterbacks in all of football. That's the only way it can make sense at this point. John comes in, says, Connor is the GOAT. John, appreciate that. I appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate your support on the show. Jets worldwide, what's the most aggressive move the Jets could do at this point? Are you talking about the quarterback position, or are you talking about overall? Let me know in the chat, and I'll get you an answer there. Just please clarify that for me. Taylor says, who would you rather have, Fields or Milroe? I would, if you can sign Justin Fields and draft Jalen Milroe, I'd be okay with that. I think signing Justin Fields and drafting Jalen Milroe, that opens the door because of, just how much upside both of those guys have. So it's a really, really solid question. I'd rather take a flyer on Justin Fields because he's proven at the NFL level this is an incredible question, by the way, Taylor. What he's proven at the NFL level is with solid coaching, he's able to be an average to slightly above average quarterback. And I think if you get the right offensive coordinator here, and Nick Caley, Thomas Brown, someone of that nature, I think Fields has the potential to be a solid quarterback in this league. As for Jalen Milroe, I just think he's more of a project. I think Jalen Milroe is going to be someone who it's going to take, potentially even 2 full years of sitting before he earns a starting opportunity in the league. So Jalen Milroe, he's a project, to say the very least. Jimmy Jett says, with AG in the house, who knows if a free agent isn't the sexy pick to come in and bridge? No one thought Sam was a sexy pick in Minnesota. It's tough, though, to predict. I can see a first-time defensive-minded head coach coming in and saying, I want the 41, soon-to-be 42-year-old quarterback as my QB next season. I could see Aaron Glenn doing that. Caden says, what coaching positions do we need to fill? Linebackers, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. Pretty much everything, I'd say, Caden, because I think this whole staff is going to get picked apart. But yeah, right away, running backs coach. I literally think you're going to have to fill pretty much every coaching position. Maybe Tony Oden, the defensive backs coach, sticks around, but other than that, I think everyone is gone. Maybe Todd Downing sticks around as like an offensive analyst. I think everyone pretty much is gone, though. Caden, yes, Aaron Glenn did get a 5-year deal, which that was reported by Adam Schefter the other day. Jared B in the house, channel member. Jared, appreciate you tuning in. Jimmy, this is just crazy to think. I know. Brian Schottenheimer, 4-year deal as the Cowboys head coach. Saw that yesterday. I pulled it up on the show. Happened live on the show yesterday. Crazy, crazy news for Brian Schottenheimer. Caden says, do a Jets mock draft. I've been watching some tape on a lot of these guys. If you guys want to see it, I'll start a poll. Should I do a mock draft on today's show? Vote. Let me know if you would like to see a mock draft on today's show. I'll be willing to do it to you guys once I get through your questions. If you guys want to see it, I just started the poll. So 41 of you in the house, smash the like, subscribe to the channel, and vote in that poll for those who want to see. 20 of you, 20 likes, 41 of you in the building. So please hit the like, completely free, hit subscribe. All right, yeah, so vote in that. We'll be sure to get that once we get through all of your questions. It's pinned at the top of the chat, so all 41 of you, please feel free to vote. Keep the questions coming in. We'll be sure to get to all of those. If you want to call into the show, click the pinned comment in the chat. Taylor says, should the Rams cut Stafford? I don't know. I'm not going to speak on this right now because I don't know the direct cap situation where they are from a cap space scenario. I'll come back to the show with an answer. I just don't know where they are in all honesty, so I don't want to give an uneducated answer here. Caden says Bobby Sloak, an offensive coordinator to avoid. This is interesting, Caden, because he interviewed for the Jets head coaching job not too long ago, and which is crazy to think he just gets fired as an offensive coordinator. I would try to steer. I would rather go with an Kaley or a Thomas Brown, someone of that nature. I would steer clear of Bobby Sloak just because the way their offense regressed this past season concerns me to a degree. So if I'm the Jets, I think you avoid Bobby Sloak as an OC candidate. That's what I think they should do. 39 of you in the building, only 12 likes on the poll. So I'll set a timer for 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, we'll take a look at the poll to see what you guys have to say. So only 12 votes, 39 of you watching. Please feel free to vote in the poll. It's pinned all the way at the top of the chat. So yeah, Laney makes a good point here. Ravens won the Super Bowl because of the defense, not of Dilfer. That defense was one of the best defenses of all time, really. So yeah, I agree. Their defense held up. That is the perfect point there by Laney. Where are we? Dr. Worldwide, excellent coaching promotes excellent execution. Mistake-free football would have won us a bunch more games. Look at all the penalty yards, Snowball. There were so many games. This team had over 100 penalty yards in some games last season. Like, come on. This team, I said it, I'm going to keep saying it. Good coaching is the difference between 5-12 and 12-5. That's the massive difference there. So, Aaron Glenn's able to come in and discipline these guys. We're talking about a playoff team next year. That's what I seriously think this team has in the tank. Bino is a channel member. Crazy Slug was just interviewing for a head coaching job, and a week later he's unemployed. I saw some Texans articles a few months back saying they should fire Slowick in like November. Slowick was like the hot name for a head coaching job last offseason after he did that crazy thing with CJ Stroud, orchestrated that insane rookie season, and then just fell off a cliff this season. They were bottom 10, bottom 12 offense this season. They were not great. They regressed significantly. Yeah. Good stat from BC here about the Ravens defense. Ravens defense allowed the fewest points in a game since 1977, excuse me, for sure. Caden says, love your energy, Connor. Caden, appreciate you guys. Appreciate you. Dick Chimney's burner coming in. Connor, good morning. I appreciate you tuning in, man. Appreciate your support on the show. Oh, sorry. Yes, I meant to get this. So expand on the Jets' most aggressive move overall the Jets could make this offseason. This is a really, really tough question. I could go in so many different directions here, whether it's the quarterback position or I'd say the most aggressive. I'm going to try to keep this realistic because I would say the most aggressive move is the Jets trading up to get Cam Ward or Shadur Sanders, but we know that's not happening. I'd say the most aggressive move the New York Jets, like in an all-in sense, the most aggressive move the New York Jets could make next season is you bring back Devontae Adams, you bring back Garrett Wilson, and you potentially sign a T. Higgins to a 5-year long-term deal. I think that is just going to show this team is going all in again with Aaron Rodgers at the helm. They want to surround Aaron Rodgers with even more weapons. That is probably the best wide receiver trio in all of football if you go and sign T. Higgins to a long-term deal. So that's my answer for you. Signing T. Higgins to a long-term deal in free agency from like a free agent perspective, I think it's the most aggressive move the Jets could make from going, okay, we're bringing Aaron Rodgers back. The band's back together. 3rd year in a row now. We are going all in, and this is it. If we do not win a Super Bowl this year, we have to start from square one. Because the Jets are in a really interesting spot right now where they're 5-12, but they're a lot better than their record shows. They lost games because of coaching. They lost games because of undisciplined football. They lost games because of missed kicks. So this team is better than 5-12. Caden says Ted McMillan, the right pick at 7. He's good at everything outside of his speed, bro. Caden, I've watched so much Ted McMillan. He's incredible. He reminds me a little of T. Higgins, quite frankly, you were just talking about. 6'5", 212 pounds. I have a whole scouting report on him. We're going to break down a lot of the draft prospects on another show. But yeah, 6'5", 212 pounds. I think that's his height and weight. He has some of the best body control I have ever seen in an athlete. Insane body control. I mean, his route running gets knocked. It's not great. He has okay route running. His body control, his size, the way he utilizes his size, his hands are generational. The guy catches anything within the zip code. Ted McMillan's there at 7. I don't think there's a chance he doesn't make it to 7. I think if Ted McMillan is there at 7, you have to pull the trigger and draft him. Guy Jerome Stacks, a channeled member, comes in and says, "Good morning, Connor." Jerome, appreciate you tuning in. Caden says, "What about Luther Burden, wide receiver, I think Missouri? I think he's from Missouri. I watched a game or two of his. I wasn't completely blown away. I know a lot of people have him really high. Other than McMillan, I watched a few of the other wide receivers. I wasn't too impressed. Amika Agupa, I think is how you pronounce his name. Correct me if I'm wrong there. The wide receiver from Ohio State, wasn't blown away with him. I watched some Trey Harris film. The guy from Ole Miss, Jackson Dart's teammate, wasn't too blown away with him. Ted McMillan is my clear-cut wide receiver one right now. My answer to this question directly is I have to watch a little more, but in my small sample size, I wasn't blown away with Luther Burden. Harlan says, "You're only good as your record says you are." Bill Parcells. That's a great quote, Harlan. I've used that. I've said that so many times. That was my whole argument with Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh. My whole argument was they did everything they could put this chance. They did everything to put this team in position to win, but ultimately, you lost. This team ultimately went 5-12. This team was ultimately 30 and 60 something under Joe Douglas, no matter all the moves he made in free agency in the draft. The team was ultimately 20 and 36 under Robert Saleh. But I guess my message overall here is, let's be real. This team still has talent. This team has talent. This team has the potential to be a 12-5 team. You look at all the talent on the roster, and most importantly, the way they lost those games. There were only a few games they were significantly just outplayed and outmatched by the opponent. I'd say there were 2 or 3 games where that was the case. But most of the losses are attributed to missed kicks, penalties, poor discipline, everything like that. So, yeah, tough to say. Jojo says most important hires OC and O-line coach, along with the run game coordinator, for sure. I agree with that, Jojo. Jets Worldwide, we've lost the most amount of season ticket holders this season in recent years. Being aggressive makes sense. Yeah, you got to go all in. All in the sense where you're still balancing your future, but I think bringing Aaron Rodgers back on a pay cut, going all in, giving the fans something exciting to watch next season, putting them in the best position to win. Kane says, "Could the Jets bring back Bryce Huff if he possibly gets cut for the Eagles?" I don't know if Bryce Huff would want to come back here after that. That contract was mishandled his last offseason. I don't know if he'd want to come back here. Appreciate you all tuning in. Smash the like. Subscribe to the channel. I appreciate all your support. The poll says 81-19. Now I was thinking this has been a 45-minute show. We could save it, maybe for tomorrow's show, but if you want to see it now, just throw it in the chat. If you want to see it on today's show, drop it in the chat. We'll do it, and then we could always do it another time. We're going to do a ton of these as the draft gets closer. So let me know if you would prefer to see it today or a show at some point later in the week. Let me know, and then we'll be sure to hit on that. I should be back tomorrow for a show before the games. Should be back a lot this week. We're trying to go daily here on the show. Cadence says now. So let me know what you guys want to see. Let me know if you guys want to see now, you guys want to see in a later show. Just throw it in the chat. 38 of you in the building. 38 of you in the building. 27 likes. Hit the like, please. And follow in Caden's footsteps. Do you want to see it now or do you want to see it in a show in the future? We have a lot of exciting guests coming up. If you guys have any advice for the show, any guests you'd want to see, any topics, any content ideas you'd want us to cover, throw it in the Discord, which you could join down below in the description, or just throw it in the chat. We'll be sure to hit them. Caden says now. Harlan says could do it on tomorrow's show. Yeah, I think it's been 45 minutes. I think we just do it tomorrow. I think that's the right idea here. Jimmy Jet says let him do it later. He needs more time to watch Will Howard film. I actually don't have an awful grade on Will Howard, Jimmy. I'm just not for me on Will Howard. I don't want the Jets to draft him in the 3rd round. If he somehow falls to the 4th round, cool. I just think there are better options for the Jets to go in the 3rd round. I'm not all for Will Howard from what I've seen so far. So tomorrow's show will be we'll do a mock draft for sure. I'll bring that to you guys. We'll try to get a draft analyst on too to on the panel to kind of help co-host with me tomorrow. I'm gonna watch some more tape on these guys tomorrow, so I'm sure I'll have some more educated predictions on a lot of these guys in the mock draft. Appreciate it. And at the buzzer, before we wrap up, Dick Chimney's burner comes in with 5 gifted memberships. He wants in on the raffle, his first 5 raffle tickets, and he gets a Jets chant. Jets, Jimmy, Dick Chimney, excuse me, not Jimmy, Dick Chimney's burner. I appreciate that. I appreciate the 5 gifted memberships. We broke YouTube. So, we only got 3 gifted memberships, but they'll get distributed later today. Joey R, Papa Jet 73, Joseph C. Thank Dick Chimney's Burner in the chat for his 5 gifted memberships. Jimmy will add you to the ticker after the show. That's 5 raffle tickets that go towards the Garrett Wilson signed mini helmet, Wanker Bet signed football, the free item from the merch store, and a channel emoji that goes to your raffle tickets. First 5 raffle tickets of the month. Appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate your support. So we'll do the mock draft on tomorrow's show. Where were we? Jimmy says never said 3 rounds. I've always said 4th. I don't think he's going into the 4th round though. I don't think he's falling into the 4th round. I think someone will swoop him up in the 3rd round. If he falls to the Jets in the 4th round, you run up to the podium, but in the 3rd round, no. And I think that is where he's ultimately going to get drafted. Snowball says, Connor, you have the JetX connection. Could you work Wayne onto the show? And then Jared says, yes, Wayne Corbett, please. You guys want Corbett? I'll do everything I can to get him. A few phone calls, and hopefully we can get him onto the show. Just a great Jets podcast, the Underdog Jets show with Robbie Sabo on the Jet X Factor YouTube channel. I'll try to get Wayne Corbett on the show. Didn't know you guys wanted to have him on so much. So yeah, thank you for letting me know that. I'll try to get Wayne on the show. Another former, Jet, he wasn't a player obviously, but a coach, Mike Westhoff, who was supposed to join us the other day, is joining us on February 3rd. Now, right before the Super Bowl, so stay tuned for that. Jerome says GM today. I think they announced the GM today. I think it's Darren Muji from Denver. Kane says, do you want to see what safeties the Jets bring in from free agency? It's going to be really interesting. I think they get some through the draft. Xavier Watts from Notre Dame is an interesting name to watch. And I think rounds 3 or 4 is where a lot of people have him going. Interesting safety from Notre Dame. I'm a big fan of his name. So yeah, Cam Bynum is an interesting name to watch at the safety position. I think the Jets are going to need 4 new safeties as we head into next season. So yeah, a lot to look forward to in terms of signing/drafting safeties. Bino says, I keep hearing Dart in round 2. In my opinion, a team like Los Angeles Rams or Seattle could take him someone before us in the 2nd. It would take a trade to back into the 1st, and I wouldn't do that for him. I am personally not trading up for Jackson Dart. I think if he falls to you midway through the 2nd round, you consider it. In the 2nd round, I like Harold Fannin Jr., the tight end from Bowling Green. The Jets need a lot of tight end help. I'm a big fan of Fannin Jr., so that's where I am right now. Harold Fannin Jr. from Bowling Green is probably my top pick in round 2 as of now. Jimmy wants Wayne. We'll try to get Wayne on. Kaden says, get Rodgers on the show. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers want to come on here, but we'll try. Appreciate you, Kaden. Kaden says, Watts going in the 2nd. I've seen him going in the 3rd in a few of these mock drafts, so I'm gonna pay more attention to him. I've watched a few of his games. He's someone that intrigues me. Let's see. Barney Miller says, they ask Westhoff if he wouldn't have bailed on Greg the Leg earlier. The season could have won us a couple more games. Be sure to remember that for you, Barney. I'll be sure to ask him the question for sure. Appreciate you all tuning in. I'm going to wrap up now. Mock draft coming on tomorrow's show. Mock draft tomorrow's show. I think we'll probably do the same time. 9:30, 10-ish a.m. tomorrow morning. We're gonna do a mock draft, so stay tuned for that. We're gonna probably bring a guest on or two. The poll. You guys want to see a mock draft? So tomorrow morning, we'll do a mock draft here on the show. Appreciate you all tuning in. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Last chance to gift memberships. Last chance to get your final questions, comments, thoughts in. Call into the show, pin comment in the chat. Appreciate you guys. 50-minute show today. Means a lot. Appreciate you sticking with me. What are we? The January 25th. So only a few more days left in the raffle before we go ahead. The last show of the month is when we're going to raffle off all of those prizes. So that's where I am. And, from the channel, as the channel perspective. If you want to catch exclusive updates on the channel, if you want to see, catch daily Jets talk with a bunch of the listeners, join the Discord down below. Daily Jets discussions. Be sure to check that out. Jimmy says Ricky White is moving up the draft boards from UNLV, Nevada. Ricky White, is that the receiver you're talking about? I'm going to be honest, I have not watched a ton of Ricky White tape, but I've seen him getting up those Kuiper boards. Dane Brugler, I think, has him relatively high. So I'll watch him tonight, actually. I haven't watched a ton of Ricky White, but from what I've seen, from these analysts, they seem to kind of like him. So from like a tape watching perspective, I don't know a ton about Ricky White. So that's where we are right now. All right. I think that's going to do it. Appreciate you all tuning in just past the 50-minute mark. Smash the like. Subscribe to the channel. Back tomorrow morning with a mock draft. Your support means a ton to the program. Any suggestions, throw it in the Discord, which you could join down below. Throw it in the chat. I'll do my best to get it on the show. We'll wrap with this clip again. Aaron Glenn, the new Jets head coach. While some might ask, is he Robert Saleh 2.0? What is his philosophy? How is he going to come in and fix this team? Well, appearing on the Pivot podcast with Ryan Clark, he addressed that and much more. So we'll close with that clip. Appreciate you all tuning in. I am your host, Connor Long, and that'll do it. We're wrapping up this edition of NY Flight Jets Talk, Saturday, January 25th, 2025. JTS. Jets.
No doubt. And today's coaching, man, you have to be relatable. All right? The players have to be able to sit down and talk to you and have a conversation. Man, there are so many players I'll talk to this day. Say, man, I've never had a chance to just sit and talk with a coach. I've never had a chance to have interaction and confrontation with a coach. It's almost like I got to shut up. And I said, no, man, tell me exactly what your issues are, right? And we could talk about it. Man, me and Tracy Walker, Tracy came to my house, right, before training camp. Me and Tracy was sitting there just knocking tape out. And one day he was just quiet. And I was like, what's wrong? He said, Coach, I've never, ever had a chance to go to a coach's house. You know, your wife over there cooking dinner, your daughter is running around, all right, and I'm sitting here watching tape. Man, that just don't happen. And I was shocked, like, why?
Right.
Why can't it happen? Because you know what? As a player, man, I would love to sit down with my coach and sit there and pick his brain and watch. And so, man, that's what I want to offer to all my players, right? Dude, this is coaches over here and players over. That's not what we are, man. We right here, right? Because my job is to help you get better. That's my only job. All right, my job is to create a winning environment for you, get you paid, right? Because everybody wins, right? The organization wins and you win if all those things happen. So yeah, I'm gonna sit here and spend as much time as I can with you because that's my pleasure anyway, to sit here and watch tape with you and get you better.